Aloha, everyone. This is Tamara Mackay, your host today for Red Time Stories. And apologize for a little bit of a delay. Again, we're having a little bit of technical issues, but we worked it out. So, going to go ahead and bring on our guests, the return of the infamous Dan Turner and Tarita Tehatu. We're going to talk about some gold and silver issues and maybe Tarita will share a little bit about her trip from Tahiti. So, how are you guys doing this week?
It's a great day. It's been a
It's a
good
great day. Yeah, how you doing, Tarita? Oh, is she there or is she
Again. Hi,
posing?
Dan.
There she is, there
I'm
she is.
here.
Good, good,
I,
good. So, just to kind of delve right into it, since we're getting a little bit of a late start, it was important. I know we wanted to talk about, Dan, you wanted to delve more into like retirement. Tarita, you said something about gold and silver, but also wanted to hear a little bit about your trip to Tahiti. So,
Ooh,
you want to give us just a couple minutes of how your trip was in Tahiti? She might be frozen. So,
as you know, we're on God's
yeah.
business.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
can you
there
hear me
she
now?
is.
now we can hear you.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's the internet going in and out. I thought first it was StreamYard, but when I received your email, it was kind of going. But okay, so let me share about what's going on in Tahiti. One of the things that we went for, there's a new government, and this government is more so independent, and they are looking for to be interesting. We're interested in is how we collaborate working together with a government that says we want independence, and this is what has happened, and all of a sudden they're trying
Hear you. Tamara, I can't hear you.
There we go. Sorry,
I can't
Tarita.
hear Teresa either.
Yeah, we can't.
Yeah, there.
Yeah, it's like you're freezing a little bit. I don't know if you want to go out and come back in, and because you're freezing every other word. But while we wait for you, maybe Dan, you want to go ahead and
Sure.
go
Yeah,
ahead.
she might need to put another hamster on the treadmill,
Oh
get
yeah,
signal over
yeah.
the island.
Those darn hamsters.
Yeah. No, ask me again. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you wanna go ahead and start? I made a little bit of a disclosure for you too as well that I'm gonna put, on the
Oh,
bottom for you.
excellent.
There we go.
Look at that. Just like downtown. Yep. Not intended to
Downtown.
be a projection of current. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
baby.
swinging.
Very cool. Thank you. Well, I'm a registered investment advisor, investment advisors representative, RIA, IAR, EIEIO, as I like to say. The compliance on this is just nerve-wracking. But ultimately, I'm a fiduciary. And what that means in normal lexicon is that people hire me to represent their best interest. Similarly to the ethic that you would find with an attorney or a CPA or anybody like that who has a commitment to the best efforts in helping the patient or the client or the same fiduciary standard that I carry. And as such, I have two capacities. First of all, to put your needs in front of mine in every condition, and that I have to disclose how I make my income. I can't make money behind your back or anything like that. And you have ultimately the free choice to do business anywhere you want and still be my client. So there's no strong arm here. The other capacity is that I have an obligation to look under every rock for solutions to your problems. And that makes me unique because I'm good at looking under rocks. I'm good at solving problems. And even if the solutions are not palatable, it's not my duty to make the decision for you. It's to present you with the truth and the facts. And then you make up your mind based on your circumstances and what's in your heart as to what is the best course of action or inaction for you. But today I'd like to talk a little bit about safe money because it's a big deal. Safe money is money that holds no risk. There's no risk of loss to the principal from market conditions. It's money that is reliable. It's the zero is your hero kind of money that you can make nothing, but you can't lose anything. And safe money comes into play because in several different facets. First of all, the obvious facet that we think of as safe money would be life insurance, bank CDs, fixed annuities, equity index annuities, money market accounts are considered safe money, although they can have some fluctuation, but they're not considered a risk in that regard. You want me to allow Tarita to take over? Or just
Well,
continue?
go ahead and finish with your thoughts there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I do, because I wanted to hear what she had in Tahiti.
Oh,
But in, in any regard, this comes into play in portfolios because when you're in your earning years and you've just started putting money into the 40 whatever account where you work, the 403, 457, 401k, those funds are deferred for your future, for your retirement. And saving is nothing more than deferred spending. So the idea is you come to work and you do your part in payroll and human resources department. They do their part. And at some point, 30, 40 years down the road, you get a gold watch and a big check.
right.
Well, the biggest, most important mechanism to you building your retirement income is the one that you never pay attention to, and that's called dollar cost averaging. And what dollar cost averaging means is if you put in the same amount of money every payday, pay after pay, month after month, year after year, you're going to buy share values at varying prices. Some are going to be low, some are going to be high. And when you're investing money that way, it's absolutely the best and most important way to take advantage of market fluctuation. You can't lose because there's a benefit to both sides. The market does one of three things. It goes up, it goes down, it stays the same. And when markets go up and you're putting in money consistently, you're buying fewer shares per purchase. When the markets drop, and they will, you're not upset because now you're loading up on more shares per purchase. And when it moves sideways, it doesn't hurt you. You're just accumulating shares. So up or down or sideways, dollar cost averaging is your friend. It helps you create the wealth that you have. And many people mistakenly credit themselves with their own expertise in managing funds. And I built this $1 million account with my 4 whatever because I'm good. No, you're not. You came to work and did your job. Dollar cost averaging did all the heavy lifting for you. So now you're 60, 55, and you're still investing like a 20-year-old. You are a very high standard deviation, which is the measure of how much risk you're taking relative to the amount of reward you're getting. And you should be slowing down and diversifying into more stable pricing models, but most of the time people don't. Well, the problem with that is that losses hurt much more than gains can help. And a loss when you're in your 20s or 30s or 40s is a good thing because you're loading up on shares and those shares appreciate. Dollar cost averaging averages down price per share about 20%. So as you get closer to retirement, you need to modify that and become more conservative because you can't afford a 7-year recovery. And that's the average, as we saw in 2001, 2008. The anomaly to that was in 2020 when we had the government interfere with our economy. We had a horrible spike, around 30% loss But within a year, year and a quarter, we were right back up where we were before. That's weird. That doesn't happen. Usually it takes 5 to 7 years to recover from a loss. And the problem is that when you're not feeding this anymore because you're retired, you can't continue taking advantage of dollar cost averaging. So you have one hope, and that is the market goes like this, and that's impossible. There is no such thing as a straight diagonal line in the markets. You're going to have more recoveries. And when you do have losses, you still need income. The market's down, but you're taking money as income. And that means sequence of return risk, because you're going to liquidate those shares for less value than their original price, and you end up draining your account much faster than your lifespan will allow you to. And the worst thing you want is to still be alive when your accounts die. You know, that old saying, I want to run out of money 5 minutes before I take my last breath. It's very true. It's also kind of funny. But
Yeah.
what safe money does is eliminate those market ups and downs so that you don't have to worry about losing money. And in fact, there's been a study done by Dr. Moshe Malevsky. He is the professor of finance at Toronto University. He's also an adjunct professor at the famous American College of Financial Services. And he's been a professor of mine in a couple of my classes. Brilliant man. His study, released in July 7th of 2021, titled "In Defense of Annuities," is not referring to fixed and the normal fixed index annuities that we may be familiar with. These are just what are called registered index linked annuities, which are kind of like an annuity wrapped in a mutual fund. But they have benefits to them that give you downside protection. And that's the annuity part, is that the safety of the money is somewhat preserved.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, we're going to do a study. It's going to be 50 years long, from 1970 January to December 2020. And he measured month to month the gain of the S&P 500 Standard Poor 500 index and considered the reinvestment of all dividends. $1 invested in January of 1970 by 2020 December would be worth $181, which I found to be remarkable. $1 compounded 100% 180 times during that 50-year span. On the other hand, what that points out is that when you look categorically, there's 3 columns on this bell curve. There's the left column, the right column, and the center mass. The center mass is 70%, and that represents yields that are between -2 and +6, between those 2 points. On the negative side, you've got losses from -2 all the way out to -22%. And on the right side, on the gain side, you've got gains from 6% up to 16% in any given month. So 15% of them are losses, 15% of them are substantial gains above 6, but the meat and potatoes is between 2 and 6% yields. 70% of the market. And that's 600 monthly periods that they measured. And what they calculated is there's 2 ways that you can look at this. If you are a risk-taking investor, you're saying, I don't want to cheat myself out of those 16% monthly returns. I want to make sure if the market goes up, skyrocket up, I'm on board when it happens. And I'm willing to deal with the losses that come along with that risk-reward ratio. That's why dollar cost averaging works. But remember, in retirement, you're no longer dollar cost averaging. You depend on growth and growth alone. So they calculated the second option to be, I'm willing to give up the high-end returns if I'm guaranteed I don't have to suffer the downside losses. I want to stay in that 70 percentile between -2 and 6%. Those people turned $1 from January of 1970 into $529. in 2020 December. So you had a factor of almost 300% over what you would have had by staying fully invested in the effort of going after all those gains and dealing with all those losses. And that the moral of that story is losses hurt much, much more than gains actually help. You're better off in that regard eliminating losses. And if we can turn at 6%, you can turn $1 into 529. What if the cap wasn't 6? What if it was 8 or 12 or 15? So now you're looking at a different concept of investing that eliminates market exposure. And if you don't have to take a 7-year recovery period, and you're just moving laterally and gaining 4 to 6% a year, you don't have to have double digit to outperform the market and maintain your stability and extend your lifestyle of income for the full time that you're on this globe.
Awesome.
So that's essentially the philosophy that I carry in asset management for people who are approaching retirement or in retirement, is the idea of eliminating risk, reducing that standard deviation to a number that is well within your range, that allows you to sleep at night and not have to worry about running out of money. So,
Awesome.
again, call me or email me. I'm sure that Tamara will have some kind of connection for you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Contact
We'll
info.
touch more back on it. And then, now we have Helen who just joined us as well, and wanted to definitely let Charita tell us a little bit again. Hopefully the connection is a little bit better about your trip to Tahiti. How did that go?
Oh, that went very well. And it actually, we went there for numerous reasons. One of them was for silver and gold. And as you know, that the new government in Tahiti.
Uh-oh.
And so not just pulled away from France, but they are in the same situation as Hawaii is with America, as Samoa is with British, as New Zealand, and all these different countries. Nothing against them.
Oh, I think we got to.
Dependent.
We get you freeze. We're getting you freezing up again.
So okay, so maybe we should let Helen speak, because
Yeah.
it is a very it's a great situation that's happening in Tahiti, and so they're looking for independence, and not just full independence away from France, but what France has used their monies for. It's basically what's happening here in the States. And also their monies are also Tahitian money and euro. So now the dollar comes in, and I actually went there also for silver and gold and a lot of education, because look what's happening in the digital world, right? Everything that's happening, it kind of goes up and down. Yes.
Isn't that the same thing France was doing too?
It's breaking up.
What is happening in Tahiti the same thing that happened in Niger, Africa with France? They were essentially using Niger as a cash cow.
Yep. Yes. Everything's and did you know that President Biden went to invite the White House, and he wanted to speak about an island, and it's an island not too far away from us. It's called Marquesas, which is in Tahiti.
Yeah.
And I was like, please don't go there. Do not go there. And it has to do with water.
Wow. Yeah. Well, so Helen, you keep popping in and off. Where are you, Helen?
I think she's home.
We see her picture there. So, Helen, when you're ready to join us back on, let me know.
She's gone.
There she is.
Yeah, she's
Okay.
there.
Sorry.
Yeah. Gotta keep the videos going here.
Yeah,
How are you doing, Helen?
good. Thank you. It's raining. It started raining in Hilo right when it was almost 3 p.m. And then it came heavy and then it stopped.
Mhm.
So I'm sitting outside. The chair's a little wet.
Oh, yeah, we're finally getting a little rain here, which is a blessing, to keep putting out because we still have smoldering fires up here. But, so so I know you wanted to specifically speak about, I know you have your wellness drinks. Do you wanna touch a little bit and talk about that? And I know you wanted to mention something about gold and silver as well.
Yeah, if I can just kind of go from what Taditi was talking about with
Mhm.
PT, but for me, silver and gold started back. If I may share my testimony, started back in 2020. I just finished a short-term project with a nonprofit in Oahu. It was an educational project, and Tarita introduced to me 7K, and so when I saw the common sense benefits of doing gold and silver, because with the value of the dollar going down, it just made sense to go ahead and sign up. So I signed up, and I not only signed up, but I even signed up two of my family members. So, and then for me, I learned the education piece of it and just sharing it with my friends and family, the power of saving gold and silver, and especially now with what's going on in our community, in our society, and also with recent legislation, it's become more important to get
So
involved.
if it's more important, so those people, like, everybody economically is running out of money, and
Yes.
especially here in Hawaii. So those, how do people who don't really have a lot of money get involved?
Good question. Good question. You know, I during the pandemic, I said, I thought to myself, we could do bartering, we could do trading. It's like even in our food system, you don't even know what the heck you're eating.
Mhm.
That it's coming out in the stores, imitation crab. I just saw a video on how they make it from rocks.
Oh, okay.
Disgusting.
Is it something we might not want to see?
Yeah. I was just like, wow. And good thing I never ate imitation crab.
Wow.
It was disgusting. I said, "Wow, just what people do to for a buck,
Yeah.
just the lengths that they go to. They don't care about the people. It's just the bottom line." So, but with 7K, what I liked about it is that it gave us options to, participate, educate ourselves, educate our friends and family, and then they make the choice, if they want to get involved or not. Here are the facts. Here's the present danger right now. Here's the history of the how the fiat money was introduced into our government, how they use that, and then silver and gold. I learned it's God's money, so I
Mhm.
couldn't say no to that. I was like, hey, it's God's money. I'm gonna get involved.
So
Yeah.
what again, because I think this is really important because uh people, they want to feel secure. And let's say, like, for instance, the people in Lahaina, they lost everything, but they
Yeah.
need something to build back on. And what can they do? What would you suggest them to do to get involved with that? Like, can they start off at $25, something that's affordable in this type of investment? What can people do that
That's a
have
great
really nothing, but they want to rebuild something?
I wonder if they can sign up Tirita as a maybe as a family where maybe we could help these families start small businesses. Help them rebuild, and with that they could sign up as a family package. That way they can help a family member sign up for be that initiating member, and then they can bring in the rest of their family to be consultants and education specialists for that. Huh, Tirita?
I think one of the things that we have found, well, first of all, when you understand what fiat money is, not many people understand, and they don't even believe that. But so it was a whole difference between an education and the US dollar, how it became. And so I don't know if people really understand what the US dollar, how it became to life, and how it became the biggest worldwide money in 1913 when the Federal Reserve Act, it creates they created that central bank with the ability to manage the country's money supply, quote unquote. And if you look at the dollar today, the dollar has lost around 97% of its purchasing power. 97%, Tamara.
Mhm.
Since the Federal Reserve was created in 1913. So minus 2023 minus 1913. You look how many years that's passed. And then in 1933, when you look at what Franklin Roosevelt, his executive order, it made it illegal to hold gold coins and bullions or even certificates. So it started at $1. By the time 1933 came, it was 75 cents. By the time 1944, when the Bretton Woods establishes the US dollar, so the Bretton Woods actually got all the nations together and said, you know, I'm going to use the US dollar as the world's reserve currency, it went down to 55 cents. And then you fast forward all of that in 1971, where Nixon closes the gold window. He ends the Bretton Woods agreement, and he begins the modern day fiat currency system, which is 0.25 cents in 1971. Fast forward in 2008. I was not living in Hawaii in 2008. I was in the South Pacific, and everything just begins to respond to the financial crisis. So that whole thing goes down again from 71, goes down even lower to 8%. And if you look in 2021, in that whole pandemic thing, it flustered everyone. But if you look at 2021, I'm going to fast forward, and then end of 2021 to today, 2023. What did the Biden administration do? It approves printing four times the standard amount of the US dollar. Right now, this is worth, we're lucky, 3 cents compared to this. And this is the difference between it. People are not understanding what this is. They're understanding because we have already been brainwashed into this. And this is actually going away. You see it happening. You see it happening in the BRICS. They don't want this anymore. They say, give me your gold, give me your silver. That's what they're asking for. And one of the things is that I've lived in a European country for a long time. And so I understand the way the games that they're not games, just the way they're playing. But because what US did, I'm not gonna lie, what US did in 1944, and then 71, Nixon closes all the gold windows, and they're lost without all their monies. Today, with all the BRICS coming up, do you understand why that the countries are now saying, we don't want American dollars anymore, give us your gold? And so it's not something that we understand, and it's hard to swallow. I had a hard time swallowing. My father, when he told me he had this, he taught us about this, both of it, but I stuck on this $1. So according to the recent survey in Wall Street Journal, 59% of Americans have no emergency fund, zero to cover $1,000 medical bill, zero, nada. And 66.5% turns to bankruptcy as the last resort because they don't have enough money to pay for expenses when they're not working. So here it goes to Maui, right? They don't have any money. What are they going to do? How are they going to weigh this out? We don't know how long those that lost their jobs, like, are they going to go on unemployment? And so when you're looking at everything going crazy, one of the things is to really, I'm going to answer your question, assess your financial knowledge and your capability. That's the best thing for anybody to do, whether it's silver and gold, whatever you think it should be. And then establish the security for your life, because it's unpredictable. We live in a very unpredictable life right now. There's nothing. Are you prepared for the three major risks in your life? And we're going to say we saw it in Maui. Living too long. What happens if you outlive your retirement money, right? What if you became too old to work? What if you have planned, you didn't plan nothing, but have you planned for an increase in inflation? This is what's happening. Have you ever considered the possibility of outliving many of us have never considered any of that. We don't even consider how old we are, and then dying too soon. If you are a main breadwinner, which majority of the people are, us, right? How is your family protected if you die unexpectedly?
Right.
And where would that money come from to support your loved ones in case your untimely death or whatever it may be? How will your family's financial security be insured if you got this and right now this is all going away? And another last one is when you become ill. This is one of the major things that we've seen, that if you become particularly terminally ill, right? You become terminally ill and you cannot work. Will your health insurance cover your living expenses, or will you have to sell your home? Or what if you become terminally ill and cannot work, period?
Mhm.
And there's a lot of things. Sell your home, drain out your entire retirement funds or order to live. And so this is why when we're looking at a lot of education, I promise you, I was very hesitant about silver and gold, because I knew nothing about it. But what I did find myself doing is I found myself designing my very own financial plan, and I needed to make sure that I was going to ensure that I wasn't going to compromise my finances. So you have to create your certainty, not uncertainties. You have to create your certainty for life's uncertainties, right? And so when you strategize with your finances, it's the best thing for you to do, so you don't sacrifice your life, and you're not going to sacrifice things that are unplanned. Your plan is always, you always have a plan B, but most people, they don't even look at that. They don't understand. So my question to them would be, are you working harder just to get by? Right?
I think a lot of people are, and you had some valid points about, where 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 are they going to be and living longer. Again, the question is because people are living paycheck to paycheck, and they know that the dollar is becoming uh worthless. Basically, it's teaching people who have nothing how to have something and where to begin. That is the dream, is to not be financially bankrupt because of a health condition. I think a lot of people, especially now, are being forced. They're losing everything. I know that 2020 hit a lot of people and a lot of businesses went under. But what we need to do is simplify a starting point for people on how that they can get started, because they don't know how. So many people who may be watching this, or in the future when they watch the replay, is they're saying, yeah, that's all fine and dandy, but what is a portfolio? How do I build it? I don't have any money. I want to be secure, but I don't know how to get started. That's I think where we need to really try and help people get over there. Now, let me just say something, because I had somebody put in the comments saying, problem is with the LBMA manipulates the price of precious metals due to paper SIV stocks. What do you guys have to say about that?
What was the question?
It basically, I'm not sure if it's a question, but it's a statement. Maybe you could elaborate on it. It says there's a problem. The problem is with the LBMA manipulates the price of precious metals due to paper SIV stocks.
So what is the LB? I don't know what that is. Sorry.
Let me ask for clarification from our speaker, but if you could maybe start on the statement that I made is, those who don't know a portfolio or have nothing, but they want something and they are fearful. There are many people, and I know that, who won't go to the doctor because they don't have insurance and they can't afford to. So if they can't even cover insurance or feel that they can, even go to a minute, how can we encourage people to build on an investment for the rest of their lives?
Right. So, okay. So let me share. When we started in 2021, we were coming out of 2020, and many people had zero. They had no monies at all. They scrounged. It was terrible. And when this was presented to us, we went to the first people we went to was those that we knew that lost their jobs, that lost their businesses. There was many that lost their businesses, and they barely had $1,000. So one of the things that it costs to invest in is $200. Who had $200 in 2020 when they lost their jobs. And this is what we made a plan. And I think this is what I was sharing earlier about educating yourself. First, we really, really need to educate ourselves. And what we found in what's happening worldwide is, if you look at putting away money a little by little at a time, it may take longer, but I tell you, the discipline, because they never were taught this, right? Nobody was taught about silver and gold. So the education goes first, and then they will decide, shall I make my money? Here's the things that we found. Many people jump from right, left, up, down, and all over the place, and then they grab, but there's nothing that's solid. And what should I buy? Who should I trust? How much money does it take to start? Do I need to be an expert to do this? No, you don't. But you should be educated in what you should do and how you're going to invest in this. A lot of them in 2021 just came out of 2020. And what we did with most of them, we're not financial people, but we told them, go see your CPA, go ask someone who is qualified to do that. And when you get your finances in order, what could you afford monthly so that you become a membership? It's a possible membership. And once you get into that, you'll be able to have 12 different benefits, including the IRA and the 401k.
Okay. I think
our education.
Okay, Dan. I think Dan wanted to add on to what you're saying.
Yes, I'd love to throw in on that for you, Tarita. A couple of key ideas that I use constantly is, first of all, many people who are working and tight with the budget where they can't save anything. There's two reasons for that. The first is they're claiming zero allowances on their W-4 form. W-4 is what you fill out at the beginning of every year that adjusts the amount of tax they withhold from your paycheck. When you have children, own a home, tithe to your church, and any other deductible expense, and you're claiming zero, you're getting back thousands of dollars every year at the end of April for your tax refund. This is silly. You don't have money to buy the things that are important, let alone anything else, but you're getting a check back from the IRS and acting like you won the game. No,
Right.
they won the game. You're just not realizing the rules. You can adjust your W-4 simply by claiming the amount of allowances that will allow you to break even. You don't get money back. You don't owe money. You take your marbles and go home. And the way you do that is you take your tax deduction. Each allowance is worth about $800. So you divide 800 into your tax allowance. Let's say it was $4,000. Claim 5 allowances, and you will break even. And you will immediately see $4,000 divided by, let's say, 50 checks is going to show up in your paycheck as newfound money, not taxable. It's yours. And the risk taking by getting a tax refund is that the IRS is they're not your rich uncle. They are not under any obligation to give you that money back. You can be sued. You can go through a divorce. You can have any number of things where the IRS just simply says, you know what, we had a hearing and you lost. We're going to give your money over here to this entity, to this group. And you're just stuck. So the other thing is that we have inflation now, 25% inflation. So you're going to give the money that you earned to the government all year long so they can hold it for you because you don't think you have the backbone or the strength or the capacity to do it on your own, so that they can depreciate your money with inflation and then give you the net back at the end of the year with a little pat on the head saying, boy, you sure got us this year. Good for you. Good for you. No, that's not how you win.
No.
So Helen, how did you get involved with this, and how did you follow like the advice, like what Dan and Tarita are saying? You're muted. Hold on.
Very good. Sorry. With Tarita, there's classes that when you sign up, there's a whole education that you're enrolled in, and as you go through it and you gain then when you gain understanding, you can move to the next section. So that's what helped me. It was easy to understand, and we were in classes weekly, so that to make sure that we understand what we're participating in, and that it's easier to educate the community. It's not rocket science. So I don't know if that helps, Tarita. I think you're muted, Tarita, I think.
Another thing that you can do is you have group benefits where you work.
Okay, sorry.
For a family,
So
that's I'm sorry, for a family, it's about $2,000 a month. And maybe your employer pays for half of it. Probably they don't. It's pretty much all over the board. But there's an organization called Christian Healthcare Ministries. They're based in Barberton, Ohio. They are wonderful. I know them personally. I have used them. My wife and I have been insured with them. They have a zero deductible. Most of you with group insurance have anywhere from $1,000 to $10,000, even $13,000 deductibles. Ours is zero. And premium is $200 each for unconditional coverage. So you can literally drop out of the group plan, save $1,000 a month, and insure your entire family, and have leftover discretionary income that your future security.
I agree.
The end.
I agree with what Dan said, because that was the second part about the tax returns. Is also people are not educated about that. They're not. They don't even know what that is, and that's true. What Dan says, but nobody understands what sound money is. It's just another word for gold and silver. And you know what? It's not a secret that the wealthy have used. They hid it from us. In fact, the governments and the financial institutions, they actually know the secret about sound money on it. They know about gold. They didn't want the people to know about silver and gold. And they're the largest holders of gold in the world today. The largest. So when you're looking at silver, 1965, I'm going to run this really fast, 2,500 ounces was equal to $2,500. If you go to gold back in 2020, 626 ounces equal to $169. It's like $269.96 per ounce. So, but if you still had it today in 2021, 2,500 ounces of silver would right now be worth $67,000. So because it's around approximately $27 per ounce of silver today. And if today we had gold, 626 ounces would be, again, 1,220,000 US dollars. It's at 1948 per ounce. And you can look at this, and you can find this information on the website. It's not it's not something that you can look at. And let me tell you, the person who asked about that whole thing, I don't blame them. But let me tell you, this will go longer than this. This is actually printing, and the more they print, this is where the inflation comes. The higher things go. So should we be a whole lot smarter today? You deserve a real chance. Really.
So then,
yeah.
So with that being said, you're talking about the dollar being weak and insignificant. Well, the government is pushing us for digital currency. So how will that gold and silver apply or compete with the digital currency?
And there's, in my opinion, we all know that the one world order is being in place, right? And I'm going to say my own, this has never changed. It's still here. Dollar is going, all these other currencies went, and they're going to pass. Here's another, using the power of the silver and gold. It's something that you either have to understand and educate yourself, because if you want to go into that system, then you're going to fall into a system when you're not educated about the digital currency. That you will fall into that whole digital currency. And when time comes, Tamara, where's that digital currency going to be? Where is that? There's so much things that are online now. Where's the Bitcoin? Some people say they make money, some people don't. So it really is up to them to really do their own education, because I'm not a financial advisor. But for me, one of the things that I found myself is that we're more than just silver and gold. We have the IRA, and it's legal. It's not a make-believe IRA. We use new directions. And then you have the bullions. Is your silver real? That's my question. If you buy it off of the internet, how do you know this is real? And there's many times that we had to be educated way in the beginning, because my sister had gold and silver, and then when we weighed it, it was not what she thought. Now, I'm not saying this making fun of her, but these are physical gold and silver. And the inventory that we have is, we will only sell the inventory that we have. Guess what happened earlier this year when the banks went down? What happened to the U.S. Mint? They stopped selling. They halted their silver and gold. What do you think they did that? Why do you think they did this? So follow the trail, not just only follow the money, but silver and gold is the easiest liquidation process on the market. There's no other. You have this in your physical hand, it's not like where's my money? Where's my gold? How do I do that? But we do have a program inside of this. It's called Stack and Sell, where we trade inside. There's people who wants to sell. There's people who buy non-collectibles for defense strategy against inflation. There's people who buy defense or collectibles. I found myself being a collectible. I was like, what the heck is that? What am I doing? But I want to end with this, because I don't want to sound like I'm trying to push anything. I just really believe in understanding, what are you getting? I mean, even what Dan is saying, he's telling you a whole educational story, which is stuff that we should know, but most people don't know. And they don't know that precious metal, the ownership, and complicated, and they say it's expensive, but no, it's affordable. But you need to take your life seriously, because if you don't, I love what Dan said, you're giving your money to the government. And if you're not changing everything, how do you keep majority into your hand? How do you work as do you have an offense? Do you have an offense strategy? Do you have a defense strategy? But it really is, the collectibles is an offense strategy, and it really does support your legacy. So, I mean, another time I would go into that, but, I don't want to go too deep, because sometimes wealthy families use 5 main assets to protect and grow their wealth. Exclusive real estate, right? You have fine art, which some people does, not everybody does. Rare coins, you have gold, and you have usable precious metals. That's basically what families do. The 5 main assets to protect and grow their wealth. I want to end with this, Tamara. There's so many people who have this and they don't know how to use it. Education is very, very important. Very important. My sister had thousands of it after my brother-in-law left. She had no clue. And I actually told her, go sell it. Maybe you make more money. And I kicked myself in the butt 2 years ago. And I had to go back and recant and say, I'm so sorry. Don't sell it. Because I didn't understand the education. I just thought that you can get extra money and then you get more of this and you'll pay your bills. Well, kind of, but not real. Yeah. So anyway.
Okay. Awesome. Helen, did you want to add anything to that?
No, just continue learning. Continue learning and see how we can.
She said it all.
No, yeah, I don't have anything else to add. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, grading it. Yeah.
Yeah. So Dan, maybe you could simplify again. I understand holding it in your hands as Tarita just explained, but again, the
Can't hear
digital
you.
currency is being forced. How are we going to be able to use in a digital currency world that gold and silver or art or anything else that we hold?
Well, the first thing to keep in mind about gold and silver, the bullions and coins and collectibles, is this is insurance. It's a form of financial insurance because as the dollar fails, the gold maintains the original dollar's value. The the problem that people have and get into with the insurance aspect is if your gold goes through the roof, let's say gold's up to 5,000, 10,000 an ounce, seems like a good time to sell until you think about it being the contrary reflection of the value of the dollar. So something that's now worth $10,000 as a coin, you want to sell that and do what? Receive paper for it?
No, no.
No,
I
you
wouldn't.
don't. You don't want to do that.
No.
Exactly. And people don't think that. They still have their faith in the fiat currency that compels them to grab for that and let go of the little thing, the one coin that's worth $10,000, so they can have 10,000 other things that are green and have an understood, comprehended value to them. But that's exactly the trap. The point of the insurance is that you never let go of the insurance. So it does not make sense to use gold as a means for transactions because
Okay.
it's untenable. And unless you're getting something that, like maybe for real estate, okay, a roof over your head, gold would be a good fair market exchange for value.
Gotcha.
But you wouldn't use it to buy a new pair of tennis shoes. You would use it to buy a depreciating asset like a car. You would only use it as a last resort for things that were imperative, that were opportunity, that were great or assured growth circumstances that would move faster than the gold does. Where I think digital currency is going is nowhere. I know what the banks want, but this isn't 2005
Right.
when we were really a bunch of very dumb people. When you look at what we know, I don't know anybody who doesn't play the Google University game. Everybody does. You have a cell phone, you have Google. There's no reason for you to not know what's going on.
Yes.
Really no
Agreed.
reason. And people are exploiting, they're doing that. They're reading. And they're reading everywhere. You see them reading in the darn elevator. I don't know how they get sick, but they're reading.
Right.
And so it's Buffalo an educated public. That's why that was the part of our educational system, is to maintain our freedom by preventing us from being gullible and stupid and naive. So the problem that the central banking system and the general one world, new world order is having is that we learned yesterday now. They could have gotten away with it. They kind of their travel date. They should have done this right after 9/11. They would have gotten away with it. They absolutely would have gotten away with it. But because we were aware and have become more astute as to what's really going on and how our government works and what the Federal Reserve is and what they're doing to us and the value of paper money and what inflation really means, this is all stuff we know now. We're not in the dark. It's becoming incredibly difficult for them to implement a plan that everyone smells it before they see it. And we've also seen in Europe, in countries like France and Great Britain, where they've tried forcing this on people and it ain't working. We are not buying that crap. And so they're forced to do the backpedal because at the end of the day, there's 300 of them for every million of us. And they simply can't control an educated public. So that ends up being our one saving grace for this. I'm always concerned, I'm on guard when somebody tries to change our currency. That's a huge red flag, and it should be for everyone. But as to the actual implementation, I'm really a wait and see. I don't believe they'll ever get the lard ass off the ground. They're stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
the other
I like
problem,
that. I like that, Dan. That's true. That is so true. It, of course, we have our own opinions, right? But
Right.
I totally agree with what you said, because there's
Mhm.
no way that they can. Education is a whole bunch of wealth, and I like what Dan said. I totally agree with exactly what he said about this, and this is part of what we do. But who's in control of your finances? The government, other people, or yourself? You are in control of it, right, Dan? It's not nobody else.
Absolutely.
it's
And
like one
we
thing if you go to Vegas
Yeah.
and blow all your money on a craps table, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But when your own government steals it from you, them's fighting words.
Right.
That's no. I'm not having it.
Well,
Right.
okay, so then they do steal it from us, but those that are not educated, like me, before 2021, I can tell you, I gave it to them, right?
Mhm.
My father was like, "Oh my gosh, what did I just do? I had to repent. I just got
Right.
through my
Be
taxes,
kind to
and I
yourself.
didn't even know how many things." Like, so
Right.
this is a great conversation. I really love it. Thank you, Dan, and Tamara and Helen, because it really
Yeah.
does. It's a whole bunch of education, and we need
Well,
it. We do.
Well, we're coming around on an hour, but before we go, I'm going to go ahead and we want to make sure that we honor our sponsor, Be Nourished. And when we come back from that, then you guys go ahead and do your closing statements and how people can get in contact with you. And Helen, don't forget to give a shout out for your wellness drinks. But let's go ahead and hear from our sponsor, Be Nourished, the best product on the planet.
Honey. It's one of the greatest gifts to man. With millions of wildflowers in every bottle, the nourishing power of honey is still yet to be fully discovered. Be Nourished Healing Products combines healing ingredients from around the planet to the purest honey from the island of Maui to bring magic to your taste buds. The best honey from the most beautiful place to nourish your body, mind, and soul. From our hearts to yours, be nourished.
So we want to thank Be Nourished for being a sponsor for the Liberty Arise media platform, and please support them. They're wonderful people and great sponsors, and they're really great supporters in the community. Remember, when you buy their products, to please enter Liberty when you check out and receive 22% off. So before we close, next week I have a topic that I think that I'm wondering if you all would be willing to come back, and I'd like to talk about some things I want to start getting into about current affairs as we're coming up on the 2024 election. Would you be willing to come back and discuss presidential candidates for 2024?
Yeah, as long as we don't have to watch what happened last night.
Well, just maybe give some ideas what's going on. People are really curious about who's running. Let's not even go there with last night, but yeah, I would love to do that if we can start, doing group chats about current events as well, because like we said, it's a big year. We're looking for candidates, right, Dan? And we are people are asking questions about who's running. Yeah, he finally caught it. I saw him laughing because I'm really pushing for him to run for office, right, Helen? Right, Tarita? All of you guys. I'm not going to let you go with it. So anyways, go ahead, Dan, if you want to start and give a closing statement, and then we'll just...
Thank you. I urge you, take a quick look at where you're at and ask yourself if you could sustain a 50% loss in your retirement value that required 7 years for you to recover. And if that disturbs you, then let's talk. give me a call, 808-464-5292. I'm Dan Turner at akamaiwealthmanagement.com, 808-464-5292. Do it today. Call me and let's do a Zoom, or drop by my office. I'm on Oahu, and I take appointments in Maui and Big Island. Thank you.
Awesome.
Hurry.
Teresa? Hurry. Uh-oh. Let's try and unmute her.
Okay.
There you go.
So,
Oh.
thank you. I apologize. So, one of the important things is believing, in the significance of holistic health and wellness, and attaining both time and financial freedom, but also just a lot of education. So equipping individuals with effective strategies. I like what Dan said as well. I mean, that he also does the same thing, well, similar, and to facilitate the creation of solutions. And we've got brilliant solutions on this show. And we just want to thank you, Tamara, for allowing us to be able to share those solutions and help people to preserve their finances, not just saving money, but attaining an optimal level of wellness. So, yes, you can call me at 808-277-6071. And I am on Oahu.
Awesome. Well, Tarita, Dan, and Helen, we're here to save the world, right? We'll have our capes out soon. Da, 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 da. Maybe I should change closing music to Superman music, right?
Right. Oh my gosh.
Helen, the floor is
Mahalo.
yours.
Mahalo. Mahalo to everyone who, Dan, Tarita, you, Tamara, for allowing me to be in this space today. And it's really important as I end this. I'm also a wellness advocate too. So with my Juice Wellness Drinks, I'm a young business owner. So I'm advocating for health in our gut and taking care of ourselves. And I also work with youth a lot. So just want to encourage the next generation. So just by us being here to help educate the community, that's a W. And if we can continue to stack those W's to help educate each other, our community, in whatever capacity. So mine is with youth, it's with wellness drinks, and then also involved in saving money too. So every aspect, every area of our lives, if we can help each other educate more, we can be more informed and really help our community to thrive. So just want to end with that. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank all of you.
Sorry.
What'd you say?
If you want to get a hold of me, it's H2Pi Enterprises at proton.me.
Say that one more time.
H2Pi, last name, Enterprises at proton.me.
Okay, awesome. And you guys, if you want to create little 30-second spots, we can show it here in between our chats too, and put it up there for people. That would be great. I'd be more than happy to do that, and we can do little commercial ads. I can help you with that. But again, I appreciate that. And if you guys want to wrap it around, I'm serious. I think it's time we start talking about presidential campaigns and what they have to offer and how they affect Hawaii and nationally. But I always appreciate you guys. You've been fabulous, and I think you should all run for office, and I'm not going to let that go. But with that, as always, thank everybody for joining us here on Red Time Stories, and the replay will be available on YouTube as well on Red Time Stories. You can click the link you can find us on Facebook, you can find us on Instagram, Liberty Arise media platform, and they use Rumble and of course YouTube, Red Time Stories on YouTube. So with that being said, thank you everybody for tuning in. We'll see you next week, next Thursday at 3 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And we're going to talk presidential candidates. I'm pretty excited about that since there's been a lot of hoo-ha going on around now, what's going on. But anyways, thank you everyone for joining in. And remember,
Aloha.
Aloha everyone. And always remember, the truth has no fear.
Mm.
See you again, Dan. Thank you so much. Aloha,
Thanks again.
Helen and
Aloha,
Tamara.
Tita.
Aloha.
Tamara.